Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Indah Nurhasanah from 3rd grade English Education Department of Galuh University. Today I would like to present the material about managing classroom. Here I have prepared the presentation slides. So let's start with the first slide. Managing classroom. So why we have to manage our classroom for students? It is because there are many benefits of that. By successfully managing the classroom, you can increase student success and create a productive and cooperative learning environment. Effective behavior management plans allow students to get the most out of their time spent in school and ensure that you maintain your sanity. While many fail to recognize it, learning to behave can be just as important as learning the academic lessons taught in school. So in the next slide, I will share you about what should teacher do in the classroom. I mean, what should be teacher consider in the classroom. There are 4 points: proximity, appropriacy, movement, and awareness. Proximity means that teachers need to consider how close they should be to the students they are working with. Some students are uncomfortable with their teacher stands or sits close to them. Appropriacy is the general way in which teachers sit or stand in a classroom. Many teachers create an extremely friendly atmosphere by crouching down when they work with students in pairs. In this way, they are at the same level as their state students. However, some students find this informality worrying. Some teachers are even happy to sit on the floor, and in certain situations, this may be appropriate. But in others, it may well lead to a situation where students are put off concentrating. Talking about movement, most successful teachers move around the classroom to some extent. That way, they can retrain their students' interest if they are leading an activity or work more closely with smaller groups when they go to help a pair or group. How much we move around in the classroom will depend on our personal style, where we feel most comfortable for the management of the class and whether or not we want to work with small groups. In my experience, I prefer a teacher with enough movement in the classroom, not just sitting down on a chair. Awareness means assessing what students have said and responding appropriately. This means being able to perceive the success or failure of what is taking place in the classroom and being flexible enough to respond to what is going on. The exact nature of this contact will vary for teacher to teacher and from class to class. Okay, next slide is using the voice. Perhaps our most important instrument as teachers is our voice, yes. Like I said, how we speak and what our voice sounds like have a crucial impact on the class. When considering the use of the voice in the management of teaching, there are 3 issues to think about. There are audibility, about the voice quality, projection, and volume, variety, and conservation. And those are about how you control your voice, not too loud, not too soft. Next, talking to students. Apart from adapting their language, Teachers also use physical movement and gestures. These are often quite exaggerated, such as shrugging the shoulder for who cares, or scratching the head to show puzzlement, like this. So in talking to students, better if we use gestures because students can recognize what the teachers say and it's also more natural. Yeah. And next, giving instruction. There are two general rules for giving instructions. They must be kept as simple as possible and they must be logical before you as a teacher giving the instruction. Like this question, what is the important information I'm trying to convey? What must the students know if they are to complete this activity successfully? What information do they need first? Which should come next? When teacher give instruction, it is important for them to check that the students have understood what they are being asked to do. That's why teachers should care of their students. If they don't understand, there is no meaning for them and they will also confuse. In the next slide, it is about student talk and teacher talk. A good teacher maximizes student talking time and minimize teacher talking time. Maybe you know as student center? Yes, that. Good teacher talking time may have beneficial qualities. However, if teachers know how to talk to students, if they know how to route tune their language to the student's level, then the student get a chance to hear language which is certainly above their own productive level, but which they can more or less understand. The best lesson, therefore, are ones where student talking time is maximized, but where at appropriate moments during the lesson, the teacher is not afraid to summarize what is happening, tell a story or enter into discussion, etc. Good teachers use their common sense and experience to get the balance right. Next slide. Using the L1. When teaching pronunciation, for example, it is often useful if students can find an equivalent sound in the L1 for the English one they are trying to produce. On the other hand, an English language classroom should have English in it. And as far as possible, there should be an English environment in a room where English is heard and used as much of the time as possible. The first thing to remember is that especially at beginner levels, students are going to translate what is happening into their L1 whether teachers want them to or not. We may want to explain to them how English has two different sounds where the L1 does not make such a distinction. Like that. And then creating lesson stage where possible and appropriate, we will tell the student what they will be doing or in a different kind of lessons. Discuss with them what they can achieve as a result of what they are going to do. When we have broad of activity or a lesson to finish, it helps if we provide some kinds of closure, a summary of what has happened, perhaps, or a prediction of what will take place in the next lesson. When we arrive in a classroom, we need to start the lesson off in such a way that the students' interest is aroused to that they become engaged. So this is the example of different seating arrangements for the classroom. So you can you can choose which one is appropriate for your class, for your students. And the next slide is different student grouping. The first one is whole class. Whole class teaching is less effective if we want to encourage individual contribution or discussion, since speaking out in front of a whole class is often more demanding and therefore more inhibiting than speaking in smaller groups. However, when a class is working as whole group, it is necessarily the case that individual students get fewer individual opportunities either to speak or to reflect. In a group or pair work, because the students are working together without the teacher controlling every move, they take some of their own learning. This decision, they decide what language to use to complete a certain task, and they can work with the pressures of the whole class listening to what they are doing. In difficult classes, group work can sometimes encourage students to be more disruptive than they would be in a whole class setting, and especially in a class where students share the same first language, they may revert to a language rather than English when the teacher is not working with them. The moment students get into pairs or groups and start working on a problem or talking about something, many more of them will be doing the activity than if the teacher was working with the whole class, where in most cases only one student can talk at the time. In a solo work, for the first time that solo work take place, students can relax their public faces and go back to considering their own individual needs and progress. This can have many advantages. It allows students to work at their own speed, allows them thinking time, and allows them to be individuals. In the next slide, this is class to class, where different level classes are concerned. Higher level students often feel positive about being able to help students from other classes, just as lower level students can feel motivated by being able to engage with people whose language is better than theirs. Maybe that's all from me about managing classroom. I hope this can be useful for us, and I'm sorry for my mistakes. Thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.